to be here. I am actually glad to present the paper that Mariana and I wrote for this conference. My name is Teresa Macchia. I'm from the University of Trento. I'm a sociologist and I'm doing a PhD in computer science. So I observed that there is sometimes a little bit difficulties in introducing technologies in museum because museums are not clinicians and computer science are clinicians, so there is a lack of communication. What happened is that I was curious to understand these two institutions, how they are communicating, and then Mariana held with Macchia a really interesting course on public space in Trento, and I had the opportunity to enter in the Museum of Trento, in the Museum of Science of Trento. So the presentation I'm doing is about teamwork, and is about the collaboration between museum and university. I think Laura earlier mentioned a few times from an academic point of view. That is really interesting. It's an academic point of view, my point of view, but of course I'm trying to understand better the museum here. So, not here, sorry. I just need to have my computer here because I have some votes, so I didn't wrote in another place, so I have to switch. So sorry. So it was really interesting to hold this course I participated in. It was really interesting because with some other PhD students, we had the opportunity to create some concepts about how to introduce the new Museum of Science in the city of Trento and how to make it as a hub, a cultural hub for the city. So we presented some concepts in the end of the course, 3 concepts that had a very good success for the museum staff who was there, for listening at our ideas, and we expect to have some collaboration after that. So to have the door open to enter in the museum and to study. We were really enthusiastic, and the first year PhD students, they are full of energy. So what happened is that we didn't start this collaboration. We had nothing in the end. So we decided with Mariana to understand how and why this collaboration didn't happen. And what we did was to set some interviews. Actually, first we tried to make a workshop all together with some people from the museum and some people from the academy. But as you know, we have different kind of time schedule, so we couldn't make it, even though everybody was really interested in participating for this workshop, because it's always interesting to know what the other are thinking. So what we had to do in the end was to switch to interviews, which was quite interesting, nevertheless, because people sometimes are feeling more free to express themselves than in a workshop. So we produced 4 interviews out of the 12 participants, of course. So one was a professor who organized this course. One was one of the museum staff, the museum member who participated to the presentations of the concept, and then 2 students. We decided to interview 2 students who are involved in museum work. So one is doing her research in museum stuff, and the other was doing her research in museum stuff. But she had to switch because of some issues that you will understand later. So during these interviews, we observed that there are 3 themes that have been presented by the interview. First of all, sharing. Sharing seems to be a really interesting topic for everybody. And we are not talking about sharing the work. We are talking about sharing the message, the interest, the practices of working, and we have an interesting quote from the museum professional who was being interviewed, who said, "Ideas would be to work together in writing the project and dividing the tasks." So we are not talking about not having a specific role from the museum and from the university. We are talking about sharing these roles that are divided. And the university could do the theoretical part and the museum the implementation. So what is important here is not that we have to mess up everything and saying that everyone can do everything. No, this is not true. What is important here is that the university is really good in doing theory, and the museum is really good in doing museum stuff. So we have to take care of this and to point this in the beginning and to start that together, to understand each other. So this is something really interesting that came up from all the interviews. But another thing that came out from this interview was about managing time schedule. As I saw in the beginning, there was this student who had to switch her work with museum, unfortunately, from museum stuff to other things that was not related to museum. This was actually unfortunate for her, but this highlights for us some interesting aspects. For example, that you have to know the milestones of both of the institutions. So for sure, university staff, university people has their own schedules. For example, a PhD student has to finish their PhD in some kind of amount of time, and funds for projects are finishing in 2 years, 3 years is a very huge project. But at the same time, we have to remember that museums have their own schedules, and they are pressurized in preparing, in designing, and implementing the exhibition. So both institutions have to share their time schedule and to manage them. And another thing that came out, another quote that came out from our interview was about this, and from the student who's still working in the museum. She said, "There are people assigned to maintain the relationship with the museum, and we are getting all the information from them. Since we have a really small part on the project and the other partners have a bigger part of it, I think it's not creating any huge discrepancy. It is actually okay since they are working in the bigger picture." So what is coming out from this quote is that both institutions need to have a very big picture of the interior work of the project. So they can set some milestone, they can set some moment that they have to end the work. The other theme that is coming about, okay? The other thing that is coming out from this interview was about talk frankly. Talk frankly is sometimes is quite helpful. It's desirable to work together, but sometimes maybe we are forgetting to say something. We are forgetting because maybe we are thinking it's not important. But it's not. It's important. It's important because the partner cannot assume that you already know everything and then you will do the work as they are thinking they're doing. It's not like this. People are not in the other mind. So, talk frankly was really important for the student who had to switch from a museum to non-museum work. Because what happened to her is that she didn't have a project in the end, because one museum had to switch the project, has to back out from the project because of internal reason. They said that was because the project was requiring a lifetime payment method, but it's not like this. And what happened is that the second museum said, "Oh, if the project is not participating, we're not participating either," because they were participating in order to creating collaboration with the other museum, and not actually with the university at the moment. So what happened is that the students perceive this attitude as a non-interesting in the project itself, and as a lack of honesty. But maybe it was not actually a lack of honesty, and not really uninterested in the project itself. Maybe it was just they didn't have the energy to follow everything. So it's not that the museum was not honest, but maybe they just didn't say what they were expecting from this collaboration. So this is really important for a project to go on and to make a collaboration successful. It's really important to talk frankly and to say about the expectation of it. So all this theme suggested us to set some lines that we should, some advice that we should consider if we are going to do a collaboration. So first of all, share ownership. Well, we discussed this aspect better in the paper we wrote, but I think it's somehow interesting, this list that we propose. Share ownership is about building something that endure in time, that is not ending. So it's not a cooperation, it's a collaboration, it's something that is going maybe over a specific project. So it's something that is ongoing for the future. So it's about respecting each other's skill, respecting each other's time, respecting each other's competencies. So it's not about that the university should feel more interesting because they know a lot about theory, and it's not about that the museum is better because it knows how to do the things. So they are good together, and they can work really good together and have endurable outcomes from their collaboration, because they can put together their competencies that are really different. But this doesn't mean that they are not creating something new together. Second point: be transparent and flexible. This is an interesting aspect, because I think well, this quote is taking the point, is from the museum collaborator. Esteem and empathy create synergy between the individual actors. It is not only a collaboration within institution. So what this means is that collaborating is not about the institution or something that is outside there. It's about that people are collaborating together. Okay, they are representing an institution, of course, but they are people, so they have their own idiosyncrasies and things and expectations. So what is really important is to respect the person and the fact that we are people, and we have to talk, and we have to make things going on. And if there is some mistake, if there is something that we are not expecting, just talk about that, and not take it as it didn't happen. So collaboration should be a flow, should be something that is growing together, right? So people have to talk together. So the human touch here is essential for advance the collaboration, for make it possible. Then reflect together. This is connected, of course, with the previous two points, but what we think here is that, of course, we have to work together. So collaboration is about work and to create something. But we think that there is a lack usually of thinking together and or reflecting together about what the two parts of the two institutions are doing. So, of course, computer science can do very good stuff, very good platforms, but what is important here is that the computer science do not have to come and say, oh, we did this, done, it's a magic, No, it's something that the two institutions has to talk about. Should be a process. So what we are suggesting is to, of course, have some deadlines for the work, but also to have some time for talking and sharing expectation and sharing reflections. So that should be time for running the project, the working project, and it should be time for running the thought, running the reflections. So these are our suggestions, and to make them possible, we think that we should first of all think that we are human, and that we have expectation together, and that we have to share this expectation. To make something endurable, we should be transparent enough to don't leave spaces for, oh well, but I thought you said, but maybe not. So what we are suggesting for a collaboration is that, okay, fine, we can do very good stuff if we want to do very good stuff. So, thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Any questions?
Any questions? I have one. I was a bit triggered by you saying you don't have to do everything together, let the university focus on the theoretical part and let the museum do the implementation. And I think there is truth in that, but I think it could also make the collaboration remain separated. And I was wondering, you say reflect on your actions, but is there any formal evaluation, shared evaluation of the results of the implementation? Otherwise, it will stay separated.
Well, sure. No, I think, well, of course you cannot pretend to make them so separated. It's just respecting each other competencies. I wouldn't say limits, because a limit is creating some boundaries, and I don't want to create real boundaries. But I think it's important to understand the mutual competencies and skills. Then they can, of course, work together. And for example, one of the person who I'm collaborating with at the same museum is a mathematician, and of course is understanding the same things that computer science can understand when they are implementing. So I'm not saying that they have to work separately, but there must be some respect.
Yeah.
For example, there has been an episode that has been told to us about this situation in which the university partner arrived with a project already done and said, okay, we did it.
Yeah.
We are good in reflecting and making theory. And the museum said, okay, fine. Maybe next time we will not work with you.
Yeah.
So
because you want to be a part of that, process.
So this is about sharing the ownership and, okay, maintaining your own nature by with that.
Okay. Sorry. Laura first. Yeah.
Okay. It was very interesting because, as I said, I've been working for 2 years with the museum, and when I say academic perspective, it's actually because more you work together, more you understand. At the beginning, you really don't know that.
Yeah.
Then you understand that you have different time scale, as you say, different way of working, and mainly different objective, and it has to be clarified since the beginning. But I think that also one of the, it's not really a question, it's just I agreed on what you say with like after implementing this project for 2 years. Also the language, we don't question the language, but we have different languages, and when we talk, sometimes we don't understand each other, but the issue is that we don't realize that, we just realize that on the implementation of the project. So I think that the language is another, the vocabulary, the terms that we use and how we use them, it's something to be kind of dealt at the beginning of inter-organizational collaboration.
I definitely agree with you, and I think, as you said, it's a term of time. It's a matter of time. Like you are understanding. It's a practice, actually. So both institutions have different life practices. They are really different and with different competencies. This is the reason why we are setting this reflecting moment. We need also to understand each other a little bit more.
I think it happens the same actually when you work within different disciplines in the university. You still have different languages, so it's very interesting.
We work with museums, libraries, and archives, and I think well there are others here, and they have different traditions as well, and there's pride in the tradition. So it's also overcoming differences in ways of thinking, not only ways of working.
Yeah.
Okay, Madeleine, you had a final question?
Thank you for very useful tips. And what about the situations if there are three stakeholders, like academy or researchers, museums, and for example representatives from creative industry or company? How can you manage the process then?
Well, in this case we were focusing on museum science, so it's quite difficult to find the really creative aspect. But no, actually, joke. No. We were thinking in the beginning about the presence of external research designers. So we focused on the external presence in the museum. Then what happened is that we connect this thing from university and museum. I think when you have to put other stakeholders together is matter of talking and creating time for reflecting and not for working on it. So I think we can just extend these three suggestions to the group.
Can I reply to that? That also, in my opinion, the problem there is that when you are, all this emphasis that they put the students in the respect, it has to be with the fact that the doctoral students, even if they are professional in their own fields, they are not being paid by the museum. And that generates a situation of disbalance, that it does not happen when the creative industry is involved, and then they pass a bill on their work. So the problems with the time schedule and with all these, because when we were analyzing the interviews, we see recurring this issue of the respect. And this issue came because of the fact that they are not paid. And they are like kind of used as a cheap labor force, even if they are like ICT students and doctoral students, which are like experts in their fields, right?
There's maybe a bit of a plug for a program we run in the Netherlands. We've done that for the past decade, and it's quite successful. It's funded by the National Science Foundation. So it's a collaboration between heritage institutions, informatics students who are writing their doctoral thesis, and they have their location in the heritage institution, and humanities researchers. And it's a triangle, and they have 3 or 4-year projects running, and it's funded by the National Science Foundation. So they really push this cross-domain collaboration among academics and archival institutions. It's called CATCH. So, and it is an international advisory board to that. So I think maybe worthwhile to see how you can scale it up beyond individual universities and institutions to maybe get your National Science Foundation involved. I think that's a good example already. So we could show. Thanks very much, Teresa.
Thank you.
Yeah.